So I'm on my way to church. Haven't made a video in a long time. I don't really know why. Except my phone got full of videos. It's still full of videos, though. However, I'm making a video now, so I don't really know why I didn't make a video, but just whatever. It's a pain, to be honest with you. I mean, it's fun, but it's also a pain because it's just something else to do, and who needs something else to do, right? But I've just got to continue. I feel like, really, honestly, I have to continue to speak out against racism. And I have to continue to speak out against, I'm going to try to invent a word really fast here. Let's see if I can do it. I'm going to continue to, I mean, I can say what I need to say without the word, but I'm in the mood to invent a word. So I'm going to invent a word. I'm going to continue to speak out against inheritanceism. How about that? Inheritanceism. Racism and inheritanceism. Racism is obviously, we all know this, is judging people on the basis of the color of their skin. Right? Can we all agree about that? I think that's what racism is. I don't know. I don't know. It's very weird. But that's what I believe racism is. Okay, and inheritanceism is judging people on the basis of what they inherited from their ancestors. So in other words, if your great-great-great-grandfather was a bank robber, then, you shouldn't have to go to jail because of that. That's what I call inheritanceism. And I just made that word up, so maybe it's not very good. But anyway, so, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to live in a world where people are judged on the basis of the color of their skin, right? And I don't think anybody wants to live in a world where people go digging through people's ancestry to look for things that somebody did wrong that they're related to, and then punishing the people who are alive today because of what their ancestor did that was wrong, okay? But that's what the leadership at the First Baptist Church of St. Petersburg does. They condemn you if you're white, right? And they condemn you if your great-great-great-grandfather did something that they don't think is right. Now, this attitude and this message comes through the mouth of Dr. Glen Money, and he's probably the leader of the gaggle of idiots that subscribe to these ideas, right? But the fact is, they allow him to oh man, my brain is not functioning yet. They allow him to, I want to say enumerate, which is okay, that's not terrible, but there's another word I want to say. Alliterate, no. Enumerate, alliterate. It's like when you say something. Articulate, that's the word, articulate. They allow him to articulate these ideas. That if you're white, you're evil, right? So that's racism, right? Or if your great-great-great-grandfather owned a slave, which very few people have great-great-great-grandfathers that owned slaves, by the way, because like 80% of the people in America came to America after the Civil War. So very few people. And of the people, if you're a Southern Democrat or you come from a family of Southern Democrats, you are statistically the most likely person in terms of race and class to be related to somebody who owned a slave, because it was the Southern Democrats who were the slave owners. It was the Southern Democrats who were the proponents and the advocates for segregation, right, in the 60s. So it's just, it's beyond words that we have. I think God would call it an abomination or something really strong. I mean, there's really not a strong enough word to describe the depth and the intensity and the purity of the hypocrisy, right? And the unbelievable, I mean, really, it's just evil. There's no, see, I was always confused growing up. I grew up in the church, right? So I was always confused by the fact that the devil is called the accuser of the brethren. I'm like, why? Why? I mean, first of all, the devil's evil. Why would somebody evil accuse anybody of anything? It's like you're evil. It's like a short man making fun of people for being short. If you're evil and you're accusing people of evil, it's like, you have a hair lip and you make fun of people who have hair lips. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? So it was always very confusing to me. I'm 54 now, so my attitudes are different now, but thank God, because I grew up with people who have the exact same attitudes they had 40 years ago, and it's just like, what? Or 30 years ago, even 20 years ago. Hopefully our attitudes get a refresh every 5 to 10 years, right? I mean, if they don't, then what does that mean? It means something not good, I believe. But anyway, it's like living in a house and never getting a refresh on your house, never getting painted, never getting upgraded, never getting remodeled. That's kind of the way I look at it, but which most of my houses are like that. But then again, I don't live in a house for very long. Typically, like 3 years is a long time for me. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's wrong and it's evil. And on 2 videos, one really long and one not so long. One was so long it took 2 videos because this phone shuts off after 30 minutes in terms of like if you're recording something. And most of my videos are really long, but which is not good because nobody wants to watch a long video. Anyway, I've posted 2 videos before demanding an apology from the leadership of the First Baptist Church, St. Petersburg, for allowing Dr. Glen Money to get up there and advocate for the cause of racism, to advocate for the cause of inheritanceism. Oh, now I remember what I was saying before I got distracted. I was talking about like the history of Southern Democrats and being slave owners and proponents of segregation. And I don't know I don't know and I don't really care, but I'm pretty sure Dr. Glen Money is a Southern Democrat, right? So he's up there saying, and he invites people in to come in and talk about the KKK and racism and blah, blah, blah. It's like the stuff we hear like ad vomitum everywhere else in pop culture, right? Late night TV, college class, university. Everybody's always getting racism. Like hundreds of thousands of times everywhere we go. It's just like the same old regurgitated social narrative, which is one reason I think the churches are empty, because they're irrelevant. They're redundant. You just go and you just hear the same thing you hear everywhere else. And it's like, why should I even bother and come here? I'll just stay up late on Saturday night, watch Jimmy Kimmel or watch Stephen Colbert. And then I don't want to go to church and hear the same thing over again, or hear the same thing wrapped up in like a Jesus cloth, right? Or like a Jesus paper. It's kind of like you get a pair of shoes, the same exact pair of shoes for Christmas from 5 different people, but they're wrapped in different paper. It's like, it's the same thing. It just has a different wrapping on it. You say Jesus, you sing some Jesus songs, but the message is the same, right? It's redundant. It's irrelevant. It's, redundant and irrelevant. What's the point? I think that's one of the reasons the churches are so empty, because people see church, they want church. They don't want Jimmy Kimmel regurgitated, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Anyway, I was talking about why the devil is the accuser of the brethren. It's because that's the way evil works. That's one of the tactics of manipulation and power. That's what I call the dark arts. It's one of the dark arts. It's whatever you're doing, you accuse the other person of doing, and that sets up a dynamic. That sets up an energy vibration, like Tesla said, the secrets of the universe are in energy and in vibration and frequency and yada yada, so on and so forth, right? It sets up a dynamic. Number one, it confuses people because they're looking at you and they're seeing you do it, but then they're listening to you condemn it and accuse somebody else of doing it, so it's confusing. And people that are confused are easy to manipulate, right? And then if you can make your case in a sophistry type of way that seem credible, at least initially, that the other person is actually the guilty party doing the exact same thing that you're doing, then everybody starts looking at them and stops looking at you, right? And then when they look at them and they say, no, it's not me, it's him. Well, now, psychologically, they seem to lack credibility because it seems like they're accusing you of what they're guilty of. So you see the dynamic that has been established? You've captured the initiative. So that's why I believe Satan is the accuser of the brethren, It's a principle of evil. It's a principle of wrongdoing. It's a principle of criminals to want to intrinsically, inherently transfer attention away from themselves and onto somebody else, right? And if you can transfer attention in a specific contextual way that is relevant to you, then that just intensifies the effect of transferring attention on. So anyway, this will be number 3, my number 3 demand of a demand for an apology for the First Baptist Church, from the First Baptist Church leadership. 21 original copies of a letter signed by no fewer than 6 leaders of the church, including Dr. Glen Money, the mouthpiece for this advocate of racism, judging people because on the basis of the color of their skin, and this advocate of inheritanceism, trying to make the case that people should be judged and punished and whatnot and so forth because of what their great-great-great-grandparents presumably did. And he doesn't even know who anybody's great-great-great-grand. It's like several layers of stupidity. You know, it's several layers of incompetence. It's several layers of conscious evil doing, you know? So I think I need 21 copies because that's how many people in my family. And we each deserve a copy. We don't deserve to be condemned because of the color of our skin, right? And I know Dr. Glen Money's white, but like I said, that's evil. That's the projection, right? He's also a Southern Democrat. Projection. The devil is the accuser of the brethrens. Evil people doing evil, they might not be evil people, but anybody who's doing something evil like Dr. Glen Money is when he gets up there and talks about white people and black people and white. Yeah, it's so funny. Dr. Martin Luther King said he dreams of a day when people would judge by the content of the character and not the color of their skin. And yet you have all these Southern Democrats and all these quote unquote educated. They're not educated. They're institutionally processed. They're institutionally standardized. Their education is a misnomer. The world is full of fakes and misnomers. That's what a misnomer is. It's a fake, right? The world is full of them. Our world is full. Our language is corrupted. Our culture is corrupted. Our institutions are corrupted. Everything is corrupted. And we have to wrap our head around that or we're going to be overwhelmed by the disease, the social disease, the rhetorical diseases that are all around. Let's talk about pandemics. The pandemics are in our language. The pandemics are in our institutions. The pandemics are in our leaders. The pandemics are in our causes, right? Everybody's running around. White people, black people, white people, gays, LGBTQs. You got to let the gays come in, talk to the children, teach them how to be gay. You know, that's it. Nobody cares about the slaves, the women and the children, human trafficking. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the fake wars. Nobody cares that George H.W. Bush and John McCain were arrested by military tribunal, tried by military tribunal, and executed by military tribunal. Nobody cares. George H.W. Bush's funeral, the flag was upside down and it was unfurled. I mean, it was not neat. Okay, it was a disgraceful. It was a funeral of disgrace, right? And it was all done on purpose. Nobody cares about the real issues because they're trying to push the fake because they want the population ignorant. Ignorant, confused people are easy to manipulate. And just because you think you're quote unquote, you're not educated, you're processed, you're institutionally standardized. Okay? So all these institutionally standardized people are getting up here advocating for these atrocities, the atrocity of racism, the atrocity of inheritanceism, and they think they're smart. They really, in many cases, I don't know about Dr. Glen Money. He's a little too sharp to be that stupid. I don't think he's that stupid. I think he's evil. They actually think they're smart, getting up there advocating for the cause and the purpose of judging people by the color of their skin. They're actually advocating for the cause and the purpose of judging people on the basis of what their great-great-great-grandfather supposedly did. I don't even know. How does he know so much about my great-great-great-grandfather? I don't even know my great-great-great-grandfather. I don't even know my great-grandfather. I know my grandfather, that's it. But supposedly, Dr. Glen Money knows all about my great-great-great-grandfather. I wish he'd tell me. I'd like him to even tell me what my great-great-great-grandfather's name is. He doesn't know. I'm being facetious. He has no idea. That's the evil, man. These people are frauds. They're fakes. It's disgusting. And he and the rest of the leadership of this church right here, First Baptist Church, St. Petersburg, need to repent. Repent. They had Dr. Ray Graves up there saying, repentance is when you get rid of everything in your life that keeps you from being all you can be. And I'm like, no, that's not what repentance is. Where the heck are we? Are we in a Tony Robbins seminar? What is this? Again, your churches are empty because you're redundant, and as a consequence of being redundant, you're irrelevant. I don't come to church to hear a motivational message. I come to church to go to church. I want to learn about Christianity. The day that I decide I want to learn about Islam, I'll go to a mosque. And then when I want to learn about Buddhism, I'll go to a temple. There's one right over there on 54th Avenue, a Buddhist temple, and I've been twice. I might go to a mosque someday. I don't know. I'm not like that. I don't like, don't tell me anything about anybody else. I'm not like that. I want to learn everything I can learn about everything and take everything that I learn and put it at the feet of Jesus. I'm not afraid to learn about crystals and energy and past life regression. And I'm not afraid of that stuff. I take all that stuff and I put it at the feet of Jesus and say, what's the context for because some of that stuff's real, right? Some of that stuff is real. It's valuable. It's true. And it's real. There's all kinds of sin in the church. And one of the sins is ignorance. People are ignorant. And why are people ignorant? They're ignorant because they're proud. They want to be right. I'm right. And that's the day you become ignorant. Because the day you say, I'm right, that's the day you stop learning. I mean, if you're right, if you got it figured out, why should you learn anything else? Right? No, we don't have anything figured out. We're all children of God. Me, the Buddhist, the Muslim, everybody. The gays. I mean, everybody's a child of God. Right? We need to listen to each other. Doesn't mean we have to agree with everything we say. But people like Dr. Glen Money, see, they want to control the narrative. They're up there, diversity. They refuse to acknowledge that the most important diversity is diversity of opinion. They refuse to acknowledge that because it's all about power and control. They want to control everybody's minds, control and force fit everybody into this stupid little mold, because they've been force fit into a stupid little mold. That's the institutional standardization, right? But anyway, I'm rambling. So again, number 3, I demand a letter of apology, 21 original copies, signed by no fewer than 6 leaders of the church, in addition to Dr. Glen Money, apologizing for advocating for the cause of racism, advocating for the cause of condemning people on the basis of what their great-great-great-grandfather supposedly did, and threatening to condemn my grandchildren to lives of servitude and indebtedness on the basis of the color of their skin. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.